What is the most unforgivable thing your parents did to you? When I was growing up, I experienced a lot of difficult situations, which eventually led to me being placed in a foster home. Well, technically, it was more like a temporary living arrangement for kids until they found a permanent home. Because I was a hurt and untrusting kid at that point, I cycled through several families. I stayed with an obese single man whom I don't remember much about, but I do recall feeling uncomfortable while staying at his house. My case manager must have sensed something wasn't right because I moved to another family shortly after. That's when I met the family, specifically the individual this story is about. This wouldn't be my last home, and I didn't stay there for long, so some details have become hazy over the years. I was probably between 8 to 10 years old at the time. It was a full house, with 6 of us in total: my foster mother, foster father, 2 brothers, and a sister. The only person I didn't get along with right from the start was my sister. You know that feeling when you sense someone wants you gone from this earth? It felt especially painful when it seemed unjustified. Yes, I was technically a newcomer, an outsider in their home, but guess what? I was also a mouthy brat who gave her attitude right back. So, it's safe to say, she and I never got along. On the other hand, I loved my brothers. We did everything together, and they made me feel like a true part of the family. That's what made what they did to me so confusing. One slightly unusual thing about this family was that they had an intercom system in their house. Mostly, our mother used it to remind us to go to sleep after bedtime. A few months passed, and summer arrived. They had been building up my excitement about swimming in the backyard pool for a while. The only issue was that, due to my lack of normalcy growing up, I had no idea how to swim and was terrified of open water. On the fateful day, my brothers and I were by the pool. They also had a slide that led directly into the deep end. Looking back, that whole afternoon seemed oddly planned, as if the family had orchestrated it somehow. They kept pressuring me to try the slide, assuring me that they would save me if I couldn't swim to the sides. I desperately wanted to fit in, to be like them, free from worries about consequences. I genuinely believed they wouldn't let me drown. After all, we were family, right? So, I mustered the courage and slid down into the pool. Within seconds, I started to drown. I didn't know which way was up, and I was struggling for air and something to hold onto. It felt like an eternity, but suddenly, my adoptive father had me barely above the water, holding me up with one hand. If I had to describe his face at that moment, it would be a demonic mix of lust and contempt. It was all a blur and happened quickly, but faces like that are hard to forget. He said to me, "I could let you drown right now, boy." Those were his exact words. I can't quite recall how he referred to me before that, but I know it wasn't boy. I was crying and gasping for air, and he just held me there, inches above the water. Why, I still don't understand. This was one of 3 or 4 times in my life when I genuinely believed I was going to die. I suppose it could have been worse. Anyways, eventually, he walked over to the edge of the pool and let me go. I was terrified of him at that point, and I didn't know what to do. I just lay there and didn't want to be near anyone in that house. One of the strangest aspects of that experience was the aftermath. We went to a Mexican restaurant that night, and even though they all acted like nothing happened, I was confused, angry, and scared. Perhaps it was insignificant to them? Maybe it wasn't abnormal in their eyes, or he did it to teach me a lesson? Well, regardless, I was done with that family. Shortly after, I informed my case manager about what happened, and within days, I was out of that house. To all of you with both parents, please try to make things right with them if they aren't. Always appreciate your family because I don't have any, and I struggle in life.